Well, a big welcome to all our listeners for this next session of the newly named The Founder's Horizon. Why? The business exit beyond has served a great purpose, but the conversations we are having with clients are changing. An exit sounds like a conclusion. A horizon is about what is ahead. They're looking forward to the future of their wealth, their family, and their identity.
So you might have grown up in your business over the last 30 years. You bought an office block or a medical centre or even a warehouse. And where you operate your business from, you're sitting on two giant assets. But right now you're in a knot of entangled holdings and they're holding you back for this next chapter. Property first, business second. That's the sequence that makes the exit work. Most advisors think of the business and the property as a big transaction. This approach can lead to loss of opportunities and significant stress.
Yeah, so we are going to use Tony and Mary as an example of one of our clients. This is not their real names. They're in their 60s. In the late 1990s, they started a manufacturing and distribution business. In 2008, they purchased the commercial site where their business operates. The business is doing well, but Tony is feeling exhausted. He wants to step back. The property has skyrocketed in value over the last 15 years and is essentially their retirement fund. The kids don't want to take over the daily operations. So Tony and Mary go to a standard broker. The broker tells them to sell it, all as one package. Suddenly, Tony realizes that selling the business means handing the keys to his property over to a stranger. If the new business owner defaults or fails, Tony's and Mary's retirement income, for example, the rent, just vanishes. The two assets are fighting each other.
That's really interesting because if you look at Tony, all of us are in those types of situations where, we're feeling exhausted. That is so typical. That's me. Like I'm going to turn 64 next month. Look, you wouldn't think it, would you? But at the end of the day, you get to a point after 46 years now in construction that you started to look for something else. We reached out to a whole lot of people and there was just no one out there. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. But what we've discovered, unfortunately, there's only 20% of businesses that were listed. This is not 20% of businesses in general. This is 20% of businesses that were listed sold. Then the ones that did sell, 75% of them regretted they sold. It wasn't from the money, was it?
It wasn't, yeah.
It was because they'd lost their identity. And we're going to go through this in a moment. So many people, so many of us, and that's why we're doing this, is to take you on that journey. We found no one that we could find that would help us on this journey, especially the two of us. As a husband and wife team, we've done different careers and different things, and we've come together now at our age to help other people now on this journey. It has been a discovery. Like we've climbed in the world, and we're never knocking brokers or anyone like that. We've actually both got our own real estate licenses as well. But we saw that when we went to the broker, that's what they're trained to do. They don't know about what you do between the property and the actual business. Of course, most of them have never had a business. Obviously, we've had a business for a long, long time. Started in 1987. You do your numbers from there. And we're all looking at what are we going to do in our next chapter of our life. So where Tony and Mary are looking for that income, that takes a lot of burden off their what they're going to do, gives them more choices. What I'd like to explain a little bit about is the principle of the dual asset. Obviously, we talked about property and we talked about businesses. That's why we do it for the likes of people like we'll call you the Tony and the Marys of this world. The step one is sort of to commercialize the building or the business and the building relationship before selling. What I mean by that is a lot of the times we have our property and our business attached together. It made a lot of sense when the accountant said to you many years ago that you've got all of this tax to pay to go and spend some money on something. And you've probably bought a ute and a nice car and all the rest, but it was time to go and buy something greater. So you bought a property and that helped on that journey of reducing income tax. But when it comes down to it, we're here now on this journey now that we're trying to split everything out. And this is what we do. This is all part of the dual asset. So don't worry if you've already done it. We've done it in the past as well, and we had to learn the hard way as we did lots of development. That what have you done it this way for? So everything that we're teaching is everything that we did wrong. The other part is make sure your business is actually paying market rent. Now this is really important. So most of the time you discount or you don't know what the actual market rent is. A lot of market rents have dramatically gone up. Like we come from Queensland, prices have gone up, and without getting technical about it, all of these things are actually priced into it as a formula. And so it's very important to actually have that in place. The other part is actually have a lease, not something on a piece of paper or nothing at all. Because if someone buys it, what are they buying? Are they going to buy your property and the business? Because it is could be at this moment all tied together. And then there's no real lease format. But this gives you more options because you can still keep the property, remember? On step 2, we're talking about property first. This is where the property value, but we have to recognize what is the property value. What makes it a standalone investment? We have to start looking at all of those parts. A little brief part is like a lot of people we know, obviously coming from the construction industry, they have earth moving company, and it's basically they've bought a property. We'll just say Yatla, we'll just pull that out of the sky. And they bought this property many years ago and they probably paid something like $25, $30 a square metre. Now it's suddenly worth $2,500 a square metre. All I've got is like this big car park for all their trucks and machines. There's lots of potential. What can you do with that? That'll be another episode. But the next step is obviously your business. We have to start looking at your business next. How's it operating? How's it set up? All of those different parts that is part of creating the right steps of that. We're going to work with has it got the right lease? Do you step back, for example, and have a CEO? Or do you lease it back? Do you sell it? There's so many different options. But remember, because it's 2 assets, the commercial real estate agent will help you on selling the property, and then the broker will help you selling the business. But the two don't really align. You need someone in between that can actually work on those sorts of steps. That's where the dual asset system works.
Look, sometimes we need to step away from the spreadsheets for a moment and focus on the psychology. When you separate the assets and put the exit plan in place, the hardest question remains. Tony, without the company, is who he is. Tony was the boss for 30 years. Mary was the cash register. That warehouse was the centre of their social circle, their daily routine and their purpose. The founder's horizon is all about navigating this emotional transition. It's a peer-to-peer space to find out who you are when the business doesn't need you anymore. So looking ahead to the next chapter of the podcast and what the focus will be on the horizon going forward. If Tony's and Mary's story resonated with you, it's time to get real about your own situation. We created a tool specifically for founders in that situation. In the show notes, there's a link to the dual asset readiness scorecard. It only takes just 10 minutes and shows you exactly where your business and property are on your eventual horizon. And for the listeners, it's free.
When we're talking about the old brand, just to go back on that, so the business exit beyond, you'll still see that out on all of the platforms. The Founders Horizon was actually derived from we were looking for founders. We're looking for people that had started businesses and are on that journey. But instead of the exit where it was very defined, we brought in the word horizon. Horizon was all about where do we go next? We won't let go of what we've got unless we know where we're going to go. So this is very important part that you'll see our logo. We took a little bit of backwards and forwards. We had a little help from our friends to work on that. The idea of it was actually the 2 pillars. So they were higher, but there's 2. So like 2 of us. Josie and David. Then there was a bridge between, or a pathway. That was part for the next stage where you go. There's still two on the other side. So you could be the husband and the wife. You could be the property and the asset. There's so many things that you can pick out from actually what the H effect looked like on the logo. So we've been throwing this around for a little while. We actually did stop it for a month, but now we're back into action every fortnight. We will be live, and we'd love to have you subscribe to our YouTube channel, to all of the platforms, whether it's on Apple, Shopify, or Amazon Music. All of those platforms we've actually connected to. Let us know. Put comments in the sections. We'll put as much as that we can do. But if you can like us, subscribe to us, because we're here to help every founder and to go on that journey. Anyone that's in their 50s, whether in your 60s, 70s, or even in your 80s, we bump into some people in their 80s. This is the podcast for you. There's nothing to sell. We give you different things like the Asset First Readiness Scorecard, but that just finds out where you're at. So we do obviously have services to provide that, because there's no point finding out and then there's no one to help. But that's really a key part to start. No obligation, just fill it out and you'll be really surprised what you get. Then it's the start. Then you can start having conversations. So whether you're having conversations with your partner, whether you're having conversations with your staff, all of that's all part of that process. Today, the world is moving at great pace. So we really are out there to reach out to people. Like I say, we just ask just to subscribe to those different channels, because then we know we're doing the right thing. Anyone that wants to reach out to us, we are on LinkedIn, both of us, David G. Fisher and Josie Fisher. We're on all the other social media platforms, and we'd really like to hear your feedback. We're always looking for people to join the show. The people that we're looking for, though, are people that have already sold their business. Someone that's actually been on that journey, because this is all about a founder and their horizon. So if someone's already been on that, already sold up their business, and in the last 1 to 3 years have sold up, they can tell that journey. We can't do that. I've sold businesses before but continued on. But we'd love to hear from anyone that's in that space that could help our listeners on that journey. A big thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for joining us and on this journey from the old brand to the new brand. And we look forward to you hearing us again.